Hi everyone, it's Jerry. Let's have a look at a game from the USSR Championship 1961, Tournament A. This was the first of two championships that year. On the white end, David Bronstein, a player who narrowly missed becoming world champion in his 1951 match against Botvinnik. They were tied after 24 games, but there wasn't a playoff, so Botvinnik retained the title. Bronstein's opponent in this one, Efim Geller, aggressive style, loves the sharp stuff, and this has produced great results for him. He has positive scores against 4 world champions: Botvinnik, Smyslov, Petrosian, and Fischer. The game we're about to see, it's a miniature, a 20-mover, and really one of the more aesthetic endings you'll see to a game. So let's dive in and see how it develops. First of all, the opening, a Nimzo-Indian Defense with a quick question thrown to the bishop. After just these 5, there are 2 things to note. 1, white's happy about the bishop pair, and black is happy about inflicting some structural defect on the white queen side. Now, of these 2 holes, the one that's sticking out to me more is c4, as that is the one that's a bit more accessible to the black pieces. So from here, black king's tucked away. White wants to do one better. Instead of a pawn duo, wants a trio. Black interferes with this, but at the same time allows white to now undouble the pawns. Black is slightly ahead here development-wise. The race here, or the big battle, I should say, is over the e4 square. Ideally, white would like to be able to get in e4 and then start kicking around the black pieces, gaining space. So many moves are directed at the e4 square. Knight to e2, knight d7, knight f4. This is a reliable square. f4, dark square, you don't have to worry about a dark square bishop bothering you. And from here, c5. Slightly ahead in development is black, so welcoming some pawn exchanges. There's now a path for the queen. Bishop d3. Now typically, when you're working with the bishop pair, you would shy away from welcoming a bishop exchange, but white really wants to eliminate pieces that are controlling this, and at the same time expedite the development, kind of catch up some development-wise. Bishop d3 does this. You know, there is a punch thrown now at f5. So after a capture, the queen is recapturing, getting a new piece out, and one that is helping facilitate e4. Now I'm drawing a lot of attention, I realize, to the e4 square. As we'll see in this game, this isn't the only plan white can go forward with. Continuing, rook e8, sensible enough. Both kings are now tucked away. Black rooks are both contributing. And from here, rook b1. So some pressure against b7. Clearly, this is something black says, well, I just don't care about my b pawn. Queen a5. Go ahead and take b7. And this is what white does. Now, one of the better moves is to immediately focus on this weak point, c4, knight b6, and circle in there. But black activates the queen, allows the b pawn to be captured, and only then plays knight to b6. Now, this rook on b7 is a little bit stuck. Doesn't have many options. Like, b7 is the only safe square. Now, this other idea I was just referencing a moment ago about e4, that's not the only idea. Well, what is this other idea white can go forward with? And take note of the this is the one thing I take note of. The minor pieces that are involved before going forward with this next plan. In the game, it's g4. Notice the squares that are weakened. 2 squares that are weakened, f3 and h3, they're both light squares. This move is played in a situation where there certainly isn't a light square bishop around for black. This would be a far more committal move, the move g4, if black had a light square bishop around. Maybe just a bad move. Anyhow, I just want to draw some attention to this. The idea with g4, give the knight a shove. You don't necessarily have to go establish a pawn on e4 to give the knight a kick. Here comes the g-pawn. Now, this move is allowing black to hunt the rook. The top move here by black is to play c4. Now, it's a bit counterintuitive to play rook c8 and then a moment later just kind of go here. The rook is kind of weird, but the idea is to cut the queen off from defending a6 so that the black queen could play queen a6 next, and the rook is cooked. The rook has to take the knight, and we would enter this imbalance where, it's still kind of tricky to assess. The beginning of the video, I was referencing Geller as an aggressive player. I don't know that this is really a situation he'd like to be in. For example, the knight could be given a kick, and then you have this kind of stuff. It seems like white is the one that's having all the fun. So I'm drawing attention to this because, yes, you could go and pick up the rook, but does it really suit the style of Team Black? Not really. So what do we have here? H6. G5 requires a little bit more work. H4 on board. And we're not seeing this C4 move. Instead, things are opening up. This is what you would expect. Sharp player, Geller. Let's peel things open. Make sure the rook on C8. This move here was justified or is justified. C-file is now opened up. This capture is ignored by Bronstein. G5. The knight is under fire. Black doesn't do anything about that. Instead captures on E3. Black is overlooking a fantastic finish to this game. Must have been a great surprise to him. After the capture on F6, rook takes C3, and we're one move out from resign time. What does Bronstein play here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, this is actually a checkmate in 3. If you didn't find the checkmate in 3, feel free to pause the video once more. Here we go. Star move of the game. Queen to G6. What a great finish. The threat here is queen takes pawn mate. And what do you do about that? The only way you could stop queen takes G7 is to take the queen. And if you do, check. Pick your favorite square. It does not matter. Knight takes here for mate. A very aesthetic mate, I'd say. I love this configuration of the knight, pawn, and rook for mate. Geller knew it was coming after queen to G6. Threw in the towel after just 20. Completely overlooked this star move by Bronstein. Anyhow, as usual, feel free to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. Hope you enjoyed it and maybe even took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.